So this video is quite an interesting one actually, and we're going to be comparing the Milano to the Krig because I do believe the Milano is the new Krig inside Warzone. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We will be posting gameplay of this class setup that we're going to talk about in just a moment. Now, like I said, the idea for this video actually came from me live streaming earlier on today, and I noticed a lot of people using the Milano with the Swiss sniper rifle when I was playing inside duos, and it's quite surprising to me that the Milano was getting used because I felt like that gun got nerfed, no one's really using it. But now that the Krig got a bit of a nerf and an extra damage drop-off point, I feel like people are experimenting with different weapons, and the Milano is actually a very good option here. So let me show you why now I wanted to compare both of these guns. Now, besides the obvious fact that both of these guns are pretty good at being used at close, medium and long range, I've seen a lot of people pair both of these weapons with the Swiss or the Kar 98 and they do really well with it. I wouldn't really recommend pairing it like that, but it is a good pair with those kind of sniper rifles. But the main way I would run this is your main AR, of course, but a slightly snappier version with low recoil. As you can see here on chest shots on the True Game Data website, which has all the updated stats by the way, you can see at close range the Milano performs the best, of course, and at long range with chest shots the Milano performs extremely well too. So the Milano pretty much beats out the Krig when you're landing chest shots. Now, you're not always going to be landing chest shots, which is of course, so if you do land headshots, the Krig will win because it is an assault rifle. If you do land stomach shots, for example, or extremity shots, then you will be getting beat out by the Krig, but only in that medium damage range right here. Now, at closer ranges, the Milano will always win, and at extremely long ranges, the Milano will also win as well. So if you're past 55 meters, then you'll always win with the Milano because it is way more consistent at range because it doesn't have that third damage drop off point, as you can see right here. Now, the Krig is a very accurate weapon, but so is the Milano. And then let's see what the next shots are like as well. So the next shots will be a little bit better on the Krig, and that is because, like I said, it is an assault rifle. But like I said, when you get into those extremely long ranges and you're landing extremity shots and stomach shots and all that kind of stuff, then the Milano is actually going to perform a little bit better than the Krig. So like I said, there's pros and cons when it comes to TTKs on both of these weapons. The Krig performs well in certain areas, the Milano performs better in certain areas, and that is how it goes. But considering this gun is not really an assault rifle, you do get all the movement benefits with the Milano as well. But other than all the movement stuff, you also do get other benefits. So as you can see on screen just now, you will see some handling stats that we've calculated, and we recalculated all of this just to make sure they haven't changed anything in recent updates. On the left, you can see the Milano, and on the right, you'll see the Krig. The rate of fire for both of these weapons is not too far off. The Krig is a little bit quicker. Then the ADS time is about 100 milliseconds faster on the Milano, so you will get your shots off and you will be aimed down sight a bit quicker on the Milano than you would on the Krig. And you need to factor that into your TTKs as well, because if you get your gun up quicker than your opponent, you're more likely to kill them. Then for the mag size, they're not far off, but the damage per mag on the Milano is actually extremely good, and the damage per mag on the Krig is actually pretty good too. So I would say both of these guns are pretty even though you do get 5 bullets on the Krig, but it does also have that slightly faster fire rate. The reload time on both of these guns we managed to calculate pretty much identical, so it's about 2 seconds on the reload, which is actually a pretty decent reload time for Warzone anyway, and especially if you're using these weapons at those longer distances. It doesn't really matter if your reload is between 2 and about 3.5 seconds. That's a pretty good reload time. Now, when it comes to bullet velocity, this is where you will notice both of these weapons have a significant difference, because the Krig is an assault rifle. It does have the extra bullet velocity, which is over that 1,100 meters per second. And that is when you know that your bullets are hitting and registering at that distance. And it's kind of the drawback that the Milano has. It's got a slightly slower bullet velocity. Now, it's not a terrible bullet velocity to use at long range, but it's comparable to something like the AMAX, for example, where sometimes you feel like your shots are not hitting correctly. But what I would say is the recoil is so low that you will still hit your shots at those longer distances, and you do get that slightly faster TTK like I mentioned, so it kind of makes up for it. So the next thing we need to consider is recoil, because of course that's the main reason why we're comparing these two guns. Now, what I do want to say is I do think the meta is steering towards low recoil guns, especially for long range anyway. And the reason for that is because a lot of the fast TTK weapons just have really weird recoil patterns, and it's really unlikely that you'll be hitting your shots at those longer ranges, and you want to be making sure you're hitting every single shot you can. And that is why I do think the meta's steering more towards low recoil again. But on screen just now, you will see the recoil chart. Now this is taken at a 40-meter distance. Now usually we do 20 or 30, but this time we wanted to do 40 just to kind of get a feel of what the Milano would look like at those extremely long ranges. And as you can see, the Milano does have a little bit of spacing, which is a lot bigger than the spacing between the Krig shots. But what I would say is the speed of the recoil, or what they call on the patch notes the kick, is not a lot with the Milano, and it's not a lot with the Krig either, of course. But as you can see with the Krig, it goes up and then it goes to the left a little bit, then it kind of cuts a little bit back down, and then it goes up and round again. So it does have a weird bit of recoil where you could be missing some shots where it does have that bit of change in the recoil pattern, whereas the Milano is a bit more consistent, even though it has a bit of side-to-side bounce and a bit higher spacing. The bullets are pretty much going straight upwards, and then it goes slightly to the right after that, which is very easy to manage. I mean, ridiculously easy to manage. And I do think the Milano does have the slightly better recoil pattern here. But if I was to pick one, in my opinion, right now, I would actually go for the Milano. And the reason for it is because you do get those SMG movement benefits, and you're still getting a super low recoil weapon that you can hit your shots with at longer ranges. Most of my engagements when I'm in a long range gunfight is about 100 to 150 meters, and like I said, this Milano will beat out the Krig because, like I said, you have that more consistent TTK because you don't have that third damage drop off point. But the Krig is still a pretty decent gun too. It's a very easy gun to use, but both of these are pretty easy. Now when it comes to the builds, this is the Milano build right here. So it's the agency suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil control, and damage range. We've got the Ranger barrel, which is going to give you the best possible bullet velocity. The Task Force barrel is going to hurt your recoil, which you don't really want. The Axial 3x optic is the best optic for long range in my opinion. The Stanag 55 round drum, because it doesn't hurt your ADS nearly as much as the other options. And then you do need the Field Agent foregrip on this because it is an SMG. You're not going to get assault rifle kind of recoil control with your barrel, which is what you do get with some of the assault rifles, but you don't get that on SMGs unfortunately, so you do need to control it with other attachments, and the Field Agent foregrip's the best one to do that. And then for the Krig, this is the build that I've been enjoying using a lot recently. Now I started off using this as my Rebirth Krig because it doesn't have an underbarrel, but to be fair, I've actually just started using this in Verdansk as well, and it performs extremely well because you don't really need that extra recoil control with a Field Agent foregrip. For this build, we're using the agency suppressor for bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, all the good stuff. The mil-spec barrel, because I think this is the best barrel for the Krig. People will talk about the Ranger barrel, but I don't think it's as good as the mil-spec in my opinion. Axial 3x optic, which is my absolute favourite optic to use. Serpent wrap to give you the faster aim down sight time to make it feel more kind of like that Milano build. And then lastly, the 60 round Stanag mags. So there we have it. Those are two great low recoil options for Warzone right now, and it's kind of a no-brainer to pick Cold War weapons just because you get overall better movement stats and better stats overall with those weapons. So if you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra gameplay content over there as well, and thank you very much for watching.